it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I make videos about books. Please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. So I had this great idea. It's nothing new. So many booktubers have done this, but I wanted to do Book Talk Chooses My TBR. However, this was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be because I am personally not on TikTok for book talk. Like anytime I see a recommendation video, like a video about books comes on my For You page, I mostly say I'm not interested unless it's someone I'm following. So I had to actually search book talk to find, that's how deep I'm not into it. So what I was trying to do was find book talkers that were recommending books that I already owned. So it was a lot harder than you would think because still everyone only talks about Colleen Hoover and that is just not my jam. So I will show you the screenshots that I took. Beautiful, beautiful screenshots. But these are the 3 books that I own that I had recommended because of book talk. So let's get into it. The first one is The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. I have had this book for so long and I bought it because of Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads back in 2018, and I had it for the romance project, and I still have yet to read this. So when I saw it come up on the For You page, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So this is contemporary adult romance. The next one is one that I've had maybe for 2 years. I think I got it in this came out in 2021, so I got it last year. And that is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I got this just because of the cover. That's it. I have no idea what it's about. So, I mean, that's pretty typical for me, but I am really excited about this one. And I've had it for over a year now, and I haven't really seen anyone really talk about it. So to see it on Book Talk was really exciting. And last but not least is The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I was actually going to use this book for another vlog where I read books by authors whose books I didn't like before. I have only read one other Paul Tremblay, and that is A Head Full of Ghosts, and I did not like that one. So I wanted to try this one. However, this is perfect that this came up on my For You page because I have the audiobook out and it expires in 3 days. So I'll be reading this right now. So that's great. So I will be reading these 3 books that were suggested to me because of a book talk. Let's roll the vlog. I am 44% into The Cabin at the End of the World, and that is page 141. This is pretty short. So I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not. So I'm gonna read some of the back. Okay. 7-year-old Wen and her parents, Eric and Andrew, are vacationing at a remote cabin in northern New Hampshire. Far removed from bustle of city life, they are cut off from urgent hum of cell phones and the internet. Their closest neighbors are more than 2 miles away in either direction. On a summer day, as Wen catches grasshoppers in the front yard, a stranger unexpectedly appears. Leonard is the largest man Wen has ever seen, but he is friendly with a warm smile that wins her over almost immediately. Leonard and Wen continue to talk and play until 3 more strangers, 2 women and a man, all dressed like Leonard in jeans and button-down shirts, come down the road carrying strange, menacing objects. In a panic, Wen tells Leonard that she must go back inside the cabin. But before she goes, her new friend tells her, "None of what's going to happen is your fault. You haven't done anything wrong, but the 3 of you will have to make some tough decisions. I wish with all my broken heart that you didn't have to." So yeah, I am not going to tell you what's happening in this book, which I'm sorry because it's really interesting, but also as I was reading it, I was like, this all feels like such a spoiler. So okay, a couple things. I hate the audiobook. that is, we know that that's a me thing, so that's totally fine. However, I personally feel like I can't get through books without an audiobook now, which really sucks. Also, like, I just prefer audiobooks, and that's just how I read. Second, this is a really interesting concept that I don't feel like I can talk about, but I don't necessarily know if I'm loving it. I don't know. And it could honestly be the audiobook that just feels like so disconnecting to me. But I don't really know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I like to update 100 pages in. And now that I'm over 100 pages in and I still have nothing to say, which really sucks because all of it is a spoiler. So I guess that's it. So can I finish this today and let you know my star rating? I don't know. I finished The Cabin at the End of the World, and I wish I hadn't. I'm going to give this book 1 star. This is possibly the worst book I have ever read, and I am not kidding. This book is 300 pages. This is a pocket paperback, so it's 300 pages. The audiobook I think was 9 hours. I felt like I was reading it for 400 days. It was just like I don't know what to say other than I wish I could get my time back that I spent listening to this back. I wish I could get it back because I absolutely hated this with all of my being. And if you liked this book, I need you to give me 400 paragraphs why you liked it. I'm just kidding, like, but I need to know. I don't know what to say that isn't mean, but I did not like this book. I feel like if nothing is going to happen in a book, could you at least make it a 100-page novella? Like, nothing happened in this book. I have not one good thing to say about this book. I will not be buying any more Paul Tremblay. I have the Pallbearers Club on my shelf right now, and I am deeply considering just unhauling it. Yeah, I did not like this one because nothing happened. Nothing happened. This was the most pointless book I have ever read. I'm so angry that I read this and that I hated this. I just hated this. I am 106 pages into The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Wather. I am accidentally reading YA. I did not know that this was YA when I chose this for this video. I don't even know if I knew that this was YA when I bought it, but I did buy it over a year ago when I was still primarily reading YA, so like that makes sense. So that's fine. I don't really focus on reading YA anymore, but here we go. I am reading it. This is the story of Meredith, who is going to Martha's Vineyard for her cousin's wedding. And 18 months ago, she lost her sister in a car accident where she was killed instantly. And the cousin that is getting married was in the car with her sister, Claire. So it's just bringing up a lot of memories for Meredith. And the last time she was at Martha's Vineyard was with her sister, Claire. So it's just like, it's a lot. But the main focus so far has been Meredith like reconciliating with her friends that she used to hang out with all the time and like hasn't really spoken to since the accident. She has met this new boy, which is the groom's stepbrother. His name is Whit, so obviously we know what's going to happen there. And they also do this thing called assassination, where it's just a game of like trying to take people out with water guns. that's really it. That's all that's been happening. It does remind me a lot of a good Morgan Matson. It is also weird that I am reading such a big summer book like right around Christmas, so that's not really helping me out. But like, there is nothing wrong with this book. I am just not interested in reading things like this anymore. So, I mean, it definitely could surprise me and be a 5-star book, but like, I just am not into YA anymore. But there's nothing wrong with this book, so I will be continuing on reading it. I just know better, and I am probably going to be getting rid of a lot of my YA books off of my shelves in 2023. So be on the lookout for a YA unhaul then. But that's what's happening in this book. I am reading it physically because there is no audiobook for this, which is also something that I am dealing with, but we'll see how this goes. So I am not going to make the same mistake I did with The Cabin at the End of the World and continue reading a book that I don't like, and I do not like this. And I will be DNFing this. I made it 43% in, so I will not be marking this as read at all. It's just a thing that did not work for me, and I will not be putting it on Goodreads. So what ultimately made me DNF this is that it's YA. And before anyone comes for me, my channel name for 3 years was Michelle Reads YA. However, I don't read YA anymore, and I don't like YA anymore, and it is because I'm a 38-year-old lady. 38? I'm a 32-year-old lady who I just cannot relate to this anymore, and that makes total sense. So I just did not care enough to want to read about this. Let's see. The main character is 18, and all she cares about is a boy, which like I get, because also at 18, all I cared about was a boy. So like, I could relate when I was 18, but at 32, I can no longer relate. Also, this whole thing revolves around a like assassin game, which I personally think is dumb. So I just cannot relate to YA anymore. Literally last night while I was on sprints, I put at least 25 YA books on Pango, and this will be going on Pango as well. Like, it is just not something I relate to anymore, which is so funny because my whole brand on Booktube for 3 years was YA. So it's just like crazy how much you can change in a year. It hasn't even been a year, it's been like 8 months. I changed completely how I read in 8 months, and one of those ways was not relating to YA anymore. So this is a DNF. I'm DNFing it because I love myself, and I will not put myself through something that does not spark joy. And also, I will not be buying any more YA. I'm gonna hold myself to that. No more YA. I will not buy any more YA. So DNFing this. Hopefully the next book for this TikTok project is good. It is romance, which I do like. Over 100 pages into The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I honestly don't know how I'm feeling about it yet. So what's happening is Tiffy is dumped by her boyfriend and needs to move out of their apartment that they shared together because he is engaged to someone else. So she finds this thing that Leon needs a flatmate, and what they would be doing is sharing a bed, but they have completely different schedules, so they would never actually really see each other. On the weekends, he goes to stay with his girlfriend, so when Tiffy has off, they still wouldn't see each other. And it's been months, I think 5 months now, and they still haven't met, which is so silly. But it took me 80 pages to realize that in Leon's chapters, there's no quote, like no quotation marks. And I'm like, what? I am listening to the audiobook, but I do also read along, and I was like, wait a minute. And the only other time I have seen that happen is in Normal People by whatever her name is, Sally Rooney. And I didn't read that physically. I was listening to the audiobook, but Leon's chapters feel really stilted. And I'm gonna try to put this up. But this is a Leon chapter, and it's like that. It's like he's talking and then June's talking, and then he's talking and then June's talking, but there's no quotation marks. And in the audiobook, he doesn't read it exactly how it's printed, and it's really tripping me up. That's a me thing. I absolutely know that. But still, every time I get to a Leon chapter, they just feel so weird. So that's a writing prospect that I don't like. I think the story is really cute. Do I think it's absolutely unbelievable that they have been living together for 5 months and haven't actually met? Yes. But it's also a romance and it's fiction, so like I can let that go. I don't need to believe this, but I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the story otherwise yet. It's a short book, like I'm already over 25% in, and I don't know how I'm feeling about this one yet. So I will give another update before I finish for sure. So we'll see. Okay, I am 60% into the flat share, and honestly, it is just fine. It feels like a solid 3-star book, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I was hoping for something obviously stellar, and this is not it. So far, this TikTok video has not been good, and this is why I usually don't take recommendations from TikTok, but I thought I could find a new favorite that I had already owned from TikTok recommendations. Okay, so in this book, they have finally met in real life. They have spent months and months and months not actually meeting in real life, and then they have like a meat disaster that involves the shower, and then they go to a trip together to Brighton, and Tiffy hurts her ankle, and now there is a one bed situation, and they're both in the one bed. But like the thing is that I don't care about either of these characters, so I personally am not invested in whether or not they get together. This feels like a slog for me to get through. I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it's just the story. However, I will say I read Beth O'Leary's little bio, and I thought this was cute. So the idea for the flat share came to Beth when her doctor boyfriend was working long night shifts as part of his training, and they could go weeks without seeing each other, but she could track his life by how many cups of coffee were left on the counter, by how much he'd eaten, and whether the bookmark in his novel had changed locations. So like, I think it's cute that it's based off of her real life experience, but like, I personally don't care about Tiffy or Leon. So that is a me thing. It is just fine. I am hoping to finish it today. I finished The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. So on Goodreads, I bumped it up to 3, but I just feel like very meh about this. I put my Goodreads review on, and I just said, this doesn't feel like it has any heart. I don't really understand. And then I was looking at, I have like 73 friends who have read this book, and I was looking at all of them. So Chelsea from Chelsea Stelling Reads, who is my favorite human ever, has read it twice and give it 5 stars twice. And I don't agree with what she was saying. But one of my other friends, Emily from Emily Likes Books, who hasn't uploaded in a while, but I'll still put her channel down below, I felt the same way as her, and she also said something about the narration, Leon's narration, and there being no quotation marks, and it just felt like I couldn't get to know Leon because of the way it was written. So Tiffy was dealing with her emotionally abusive ex, and I just felt like the way it was written, like I didn't care, like it didn't come across good because of the writing, I assume. I don't know. I did not like this. So I will be unhauling this, and I will be unhauling all of the books that were recommended to me because of TikTok. Now, I like TikTok, okay? I have no beef with TikTok. I own all these books. So these are books I was going to read eventually. It was just that TikTok prompted me to read them faster. So it's half my fault and half TikTok's fault because I already own these and I didn't like any of them. I would like to do this challenge again. I own a lot of books and I own a lot of books that I have seen on TikTok, but let's go over why I didn't like these. I absolutely hated The Cabin at the End of the World. I gave this 1 star. It's been maybe 10 days since I read it, so I have completely taken it out of my brain, but I asked Lexi, who gave it 4 stars, why she liked it, and she said she couldn't, it was like psychological and she couldn't figure out what was real and what was not, and I didn't like that. So she liked it because of that and I didn't like it because of that. So yeah, this one I did not realize was YA when I bought it and when I picked it up for this project. So I just like literally went into it, and when she was like, oh, I hadn't been here for 2 years, I was like, okay. And then she was like, I'm getting ready to go to college, I was like, oh no. It's YA. And I once again do not want to shit on YA because that was my whole brand, but as a 32-year-old woman, I no longer relate to YA or want to read YA. Last but not least is the flat share. I have had this since 2019, I think, when it came out, and got it on the recommendation of Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads. And this, for me, just had no heart. I did not like this. I would like to read another Beth O'Leary. I think I own The Switch or something, so I will be reading that, but like I do not get the hype for the flat share. So that's the end. This did not go well. I am so sorry. I didn't like any of these books. So thanks for watching my video. See you in my next one. Bye.